So I was watching the masterclass by Chris Jenner, and she was talking about personal branding and how that show, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, became the starting point for all their brands. You know, having that full visibility for all her daughters, and then having them be personable. People know them, they feel them, they know who they are. And when they launch product, when they launch ideas and different fashion lines and all that stuff, it became easily grasped because the customer base, the audience is familiar with that. So they expected that, and it makes sense to want to be a part because they're already watching the world. And if you can access the product, you feel like you're living in that world as well. So that's a concept that I am exploring, re exploring. I made a show which was art critiques a couple years ago. I started, I'll give or take 6 years ago. And that's when I was 22, 21. And, we were watching it. We had like 100, and people were laughing. It was funny, And then I went the serious route where I I went the serious route where I wanted to set myself in the industry of the art. I wanted to be a serious artist, a professional artist, a presentable artist for the galleries. So I went that scope, and then I kind of tucked away all these different parts of myself, try to put myself into these boxes so I can be presentable for the curators or whatnot. But in essence of doing that, I snipped away pieces of myself. I hid away all those parts that make me whole and just chop myself up into these segregated pieces. So now that I'm getting my root of inspiration and connectivity, as well as clarity as to who I am, my identity, and who I am as a man, as a Ghanaian, as an African. We can go through this whole thing, but deep down, I understand my multidimensionality. I understand that I am a vessel, and God just pours all these ideas into me. And one thing that I will give myself credit for is the ability to execute it, to match the vision exactly how the vision was presented. I have a high standard of excellence, and I strive to always meet that standard, and I do most of the time. Or I'm gonna beat myself up trying, you know? And I'm giving myself grace for that because I went to a path which I thought was right, which I thought was legit, which I thought would yield the fastest growth. But I would say it stifled my growth. But I would say it taught me a lot of lessons I'm able to now pour into this new venture. I've always had an idea of being an actor, and I recognize that influence, visibility, notoriety, right? Um, it's a new form of power. It's it creates a new way of accessibility across. You become influential, meaning that people would want to partner up with you. People would want to align with your vision and will curate to who you are. It's easier to get into spaces because they know what to expect with your presence. And that's ultimately the direction that I'm taking this. And it's quite profound that, you know, I'm re-bringing an idea that I thought was so cringe. I thought it was so, like, so embarrassing. But now I'm just like, it was genius. It's such a personable way to show my full self. And the only way to truly demonstrate the variety of my talents, my many talents I've been given. So each one gets its space to be all it is, and they all coexist together as, this unified bounded container, right? And the container can hold it because it can be expanded, it can shrink, it's adaptable either way. And it gives me the flexibility to showcase my full range of skills. I get to live these personas and give birth to these many different ideas of my identity without shrinking it to just one facet of who I'm perceive as. That's what it is. And there's many different facets of who I am. So, but the creator in me, the artist in me, the spiritualist in me, the musician in me, the actor in me, the inventor in me, the visionary in me, the philosopher in me, all these different, I could go on for, like, the list is long. But one thing I do know, a Mongol is in the forefront of it and is God embedded. And that's something I'm very proud to, you know, have that connection. It's something that I owe it all to the Most High, because without God, none of this is possible. All those introspections, all those, dark nights of the souls, all those, yearning and just being in confusion. Now I see that the God has always been the light. It's like the silver thread that holds everything together. And in any moments of confusion, I know that whenever I reach out, God is there. And I'm supported and grounded again on this path. So, you know, you lose your way, you find your way back. Now I'm really savoring my unique experience. I'm savoring my unique expression of who I am. And I want to be the template. I want to be of such a high influence to liberate people from, what they dream is possible. I want to make it a reality to show them, hey, it is possible. And I'm grateful for that. Like today, I wasn't planning on going to sub today, but a situation came up where I'm like, yo, it's either that or you go to work. So with the app, I could just choose whatever gig comes up. And I missed the morning section of it, but I was able to do late morning and afternoon. So I picked the late morning one and I just rushed, got there. And I was the substitute teacher for kindergarten. And, I've been so serious about life lately. Whenever I teach kindergartners, like I taught this boy numbers today, and it's something we take for granted, like simple things, simple comprehension as to how things work. But to explain it to him in the way that he can understand was different. It helped, dismantle the seriousness I, built up. I shielded myself up to be. So that's done. I'm just grateful. I have much faith. I have much hope for the future, right? These skills that I've garnered and this mindset that's been fortified, refined, shaped, dismantled, built up again, and then put together again. Like, it's so fluid. This is the true essence of neuroplasticity. And I'm grateful to be, this version who can hold it. The past versions could not sustain that energy. It's a lot. When God is downloading visions into your mind and you're like, you see it, and it just brings you so much fear, because what it requires of you is a shedding of what you thought was possible. And just in the past 3 months, I've traveled so many miles. I went to Seattle and I also went to Ghana. And I stayed in Ghana for 3 weeks, Seattle for two, 1.5. But both experiences are so dramatically different. Seattle was like the futuristic, like utopia that I envisioned in, the books, what you read about, and the nest for all these big corporations, Amazon and those other ones too. And Seattle is the hub for that. Starbucks, I saw the first ever Starbucks. It was just so cool just seeing how they all work that way, and they just thither all throughout the states. And then going back to the roots, which was Ghana, opened my eyes to who I am as a Ghanaian man and my cultural identity, my lineage. I got to see my dad in Ghana for the first time, him in his natural form. You know, my mom too. It was like a whole reunion, and then taking my sisters there too for the first time was eye opening, and um, meeting my grandma again. You know, she used to live here with us, but now she lives over there. And then my grandpa is soon to join her and not come back to the States. So I'm just so happy for them. And ultimately, the plan is to move to Ghana and stay there full time. You know, that's why I'm building this empire here, establish like a solid understanding and comprehension of what we deem the first world country. So I can bring all those information, all those lessons, skills, acquired abilities over to the motherland and pour it out through the whole continent that way. I call it the Sankofa restoration. Is Sankofa means go back and get it. And you know, coming back to the States and it's like cold, my body's getting adjusted to it, but I'm just grateful to have this moment of pause to really reflect on how far I've come. And I remember the first time I went back to Ghana after migrating here, it was kind of surreal. I wasn't prepared, like mentally for it, but I'm glad that this time I was prepared mentally for it and I was able to establish and root in what I truly wanted. You know, I wanted to go to this place called Kwewu. Kwewu is my grandma's hometown, yeah, and my matrilineal origins. So I wanted to visit that place so bad, but you know, time in, she wasn't feeling well, and all these little things. Oh man, it's divine. Like I can't stress that enough. That it's absolutely divine that it happened the way it did. So in doing that, I was able to just be present, you know. I was disappointed, yes, but I know that the next time I'm going to Ghana, that trip will be fully focused on Kwewu, and that's why, you know, it had to be the way it was. So I'm just really grateful for the whole process. Um, Immensely grateful. You know, I did not know how I was going to go to Ghana. I did not know how, but the funds appeared and I was able to purchase them for my sisters as well. And we had a blast with what we had. So I'm looking forward to going again in Easter, God willingly. You know, I don't know how again, but that seems to be a pattern. But I trust in the Lord that the Lord will provide, you know, that ticket to get there and the funds to live there comfortably, abundantly, exceedingly, and without the ease. Because this last trip was financially tight because I put in a lot to get us there and to sustain us. But to have, like, you know, the utmost full experience of it, that's where it was kind of like tight. But I recognize that that was a learning opportunity. I know exactly what to do next time, who to hang out with and who to not hang out with. I love me a good quality time. I love, you know, just feeling the essence of growth, no matter what. Like it could be just in the mundane, but how you approach it, how you see it, how your perspective is what really makes it what it needs to be. So I'm just grateful for that. And yeah, I mean, I'm so excited for Kwewu. Kwewu is going to have my artist studio based there. I want to work with artisans, just a whole range of different people within the community and across the country as well as the continent because you can just fly them there. And I just aiming to build the Operion Empire there, based and rooted in Kwewu. So that's that, and I'm speaking it to existence. Action is given, so it's finding me, and it's found me. So I'm grateful for that. So yeah, I'm excited for the new show. It's so brilliant. The way I'm positioning it is gonna be getting my master's program, right? But in an art school with a whole new, not the whole new cast, but like with the with the core cast of the Empire, yes, and then have them work their way up into their prospective dreams, right? The inventor is going to be building things, right? He's going to get into Georgia Tech and all these things. The musician is going to be working on his album, showing how hard work he put in, and then that will lead to his merch, like showcasing wearing his clothes and designing his outfit and collaborating with Kobe, even, who's the painter, prolific sculptor as well, and then the Mongol Ahene, who's the CEO of Apparent Industry and working that way up too. So it's a very creative project, and I was inspired by the Mindy the Mindy Show, Mindy Project, I think. I was watching her masterclass. I was watching Chris Jenner's masterclass too, and Issa Rae as well as Tyler the Creator and Vince Staples, I believe. He's a good creative, and I'm learning that in expressing myself in all those ways, I'm finally like give them the proper space and platform they deserve. They deserve everything because they were born in me for a reason, and it's my sole duty, bestowed by the power of God, to bring them to forth. Like, if not, I'm gonna go crazy. So we're not gonna do that. So yeah, stay tuned for it. I'm excited. Like, it's a big, big project, and we're just gonna have fun while doing it.